Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit shorter, or in fact a lot shorter than what I normally do, because I really had no intention of recording today, but I told myself last night if I go to bed and I cross over the 100 subscriber threshold overnight, then I definitely have to shoot a video, right? So I mean, that's just a requirement. So I did overnight go over the 100 subscriber threshold, which is phenomenal. Thank you so much for everyone that's joined recently. Apparently in YouTube, it's about, they say that the first 100 subscribers are the hardest to get. And then the next big, huge hurdle is the 1,000 subscriber limit. So shooting for that now, obviously, but again, thank you so much for joining. So what I decided to do today was to make a really short video about a single feature on the Nikon Z7 II. And I'm going to try to do that maybe once a week and just focus on a single feature that kind of, now I'm not delving really down deep into this feature just quite yet because I've only had the camera for a short period of time. So it's not a review or anything like that. I just want to kind of show you what it looks like it's doing performance-wise so far. And today's feature is the animal eye autofocus. Now this is not something that's super critical for me. I don't shoot a lot of animals. And it's on the video side is where we're really kind of focused on in this particular video. So I did a short little video. I've got two cats that I kind of practiced on, and unfortunately both of these guys were about to pass out, super tired for whatever reason. It's about midday here, so I guess it's their time to sleep. So if I would have shot this at night, maybe I would have had a little bit better participation, but that's the downside to shooting animals. And I hope it gives you just a little bit of an idea of how the eye autofocus works in the Z7 II. It's a little spotty, I'm not gonna lie. From what I've seen so far, it's kind of off and on. So it depends on the animal, depends on the variations and the coloration of the fur and that type of thing. But what I've seen, I've got one kind of orangey tabby cat, which you've seen in other videos probably if you've been around, but if not, then maybe I'll put a link into one of the videos where I showed my other cat. But I also have kind of a dark colored cat, and she didn't really get picked up much or too well with the eye autofocus, at least not from what I could tell. Now maybe I'm doing something wrong so far. Like I said, this is just my initial play around with the feature kind of thing. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and we'll show you the eye autofocus for animals. All right. So you see I have autofocus area mode here. And I have autofocus area AF selected for animals. And then my focus mode I've got is continuous autofocus, which I think is probably the route that you'd want to go normally with the animal AF, I would imagine. There we go. Even with his eyes closed, doing a decent job. So he's pretty well lit. Yeah, you're doing a pretty good job. Can't keep him awake, unfortunately, though. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we pan down. Is it still staying on him? Yeah, it finds the eye, but I had to actually click on autofocus on there, my back button autofocus, in order for it to pick it up. Let's try our other cat here. So again, I had to tell it to autofocus by using the back button. And it's still not showing, picking up on her eyes. So I will say it looks like to me that with the darker animals, it's a little bit more difficult for it to pick it up. Now I'm doing this by pressing on the back of the screen, but yeah, you see that it's not really locking onto her. So I think they've still got a little ways to go on the autofocus capabilities for animals. Let's get back to him and let's see if it's still picking up on him. It's a wee bit lacking. Now I'm shooting this on the 85, that's why it doesn't look like it's, or that's why it's a bit zoomed in. So maybe on a wider lens, it wouldn't be quite as problematic, perhaps. Yeah, it's just for some reason it just kind of loses it there for a bit. And then when I select back button focus, it seems to pick it up again. So, and again, he keeps closing his eyes, so, which is a common problem for animals, I suppose. Something to keep in mind. This is just a test just to see how, so you can see how it's actually picking it up now. There we go. So I think you kind of have to play with it a little bit. Use your back button focus in order to get it to lock on. See that it picked it up there for a second, but she's so dark that it's having trouble picking up the difference in the eyes and her dark fur, I think so. Which is a problem even in normal photography, obviously. Now, obviously, I had to get back within the focal distance, so I'm getting a little too close to these guys. I think that's part of the problem. But it does seem to be locking onto his eye quite well. There it goes. So even with single point autofocus, it still picks him up. No, pretty good. So anyway, that's a pretty good little test. Hope everybody enjoyed that. And we'll stop it right there.